Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And I want some good trade paperbacks that came out this year. And I want myself some good rookie baseball cards. I'd like to get something with Edgar Rice Burroughs. Oh, and I need myself a Godzilla vinyl pop. And oh, hi there. Didn't see you guys come in. I'm just making out my Christmas list. And I'm trying to figure out where I can get all this stuff. I think I know some folks who can help me out here. Let me welcome to the show tonight the LCS guys, starting with Yule Carter at Fantastic Comics in Berkeley. Yule, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. We have Michael Tierney from Little Rock, Arkansas. Michael, welcome.
Hi, did you say LCS or ELF-CS?
It could be the Elf. It definitely could be the LCS guys, come to think of it. Dave, what do you think? Are you guys doing some elfing this year?
Yes, we're doing lots of elfing here at Cosmic Comics. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, and I got my festive Scooby-Doo shirt on.
That's very, very cool. We're all kind of just...
There we go. Cheers to everybody.
Cheers to anybody out there drinking or not.
Michael's not drinking. Michael, you just wave. That's right. So.
He's our designated driver.
Yeah.
You know what? This being the last show of the year, I want to kick this off just by thanking all you guys, because you don't have to do this. This is, you're doing this out of kindness. It's certainly not something you're getting paid to do. And I want to let you know we appreciate you guys. Well,
we got to check at the end of the year.
Oh, crap. Never mind.
What my contract says.
Somebody's been writing checks out here and didn't tell me about it. So what's our year-end outlook look like? I mean, are we hoping next year is better? Does it look better in the catalogs?
I'm always hoping it's better.
I never sit around thinking, God, I hope next year's worse than this.
Yeah. You want to build on the previous year. And thankfully, this year, there's a lot to... Oh, wait. I'm not sure if there's a lot to build on.
You know what? It can't get any... I'm not even going to say it.
Don't say that.
You can't get any. But, I don't know about you, Yule, and Michael, but I have found that a lot of our customers are just rallying around us to survive. They don't want to see us go anywhere. We're still getting new people, and you know what? That's still a sign that people are out there looking for places like our places, that we, the kind of service that we offer. I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. I could say that this year, that if nothing else, I was blessed with some of the greatest customers a shop owner could ever ask for. So that's the greatest blow you can put on a present right there.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Amen.
You definitely know who your favorite customers are.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We fans like our shops to stay around. We need places to go. I mean, even if they're going to go mail order, we don't let you retire, Michael.
That's right. Not for you, Michael.
Yeah, it just amazed me when I had to close the store because there wasn't enough product being made to keep 5,500 square feet of retail space open. How many of them just said, okay, well, ship me my books? And how, there's been no abandonment since I've started doing it. Everybody just stuck with me throughout. I figured, okay, well, they'll set up and then they'll find something else out later. And that hasn't happened. They've all stuck with me.
So if we were to graph your profits against your overhead now, you should be going a uphill climb.
Yeah, I'm actually doing better than I was. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, the one I see the same thing. Our profit margin is getting better because of that. But you have accrued, debt from another spot. And maybe you don't, maybe you're like always in the red. Or black. I don't even know. See, that's how bad I am.
I never figured that crap out either.
But
that's where my wife comes. Wife comes in there.
That's the problem,
Right.
But no, I mean, I had a big space, and rent doesn't get cheaper as the year goes on if you don't own the place. And I'm buying more stuff for a bigger space, and now I'm in a smaller space, and I'm looking back at what I did, and it's like, whew.
Yeah.
It can be tough.
Yeah, I owned one of my locations, but one thing about selling it, and I no longer have to worry about the expenses of all the maintenance, upkeep, people doing illegal dumping on my parking lot. I mean, it's just crazy what people do to your property.
You got one electric bill, one sewer bill, one residence to pay tax on.
And if you live in a state where, I don't know about where you're at, Michael, but did you have to pay your property taxes on that building every year?
Oh yeah, the taxes were just incredible. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
I was in that location.
That'll kill you alone.
The taxes I paid in those 30 years were equal to what I paid to buy the building. I had to buy it again from the state just to keep it. They were just crippling taxes. And they just kept going up higher. Now, one thing's kind of amazing. I moved to Maumelle now where I'm on the city council, and I tried to get the city council to raise our business license fees because our business license fees are ridiculously low, the lowest in the state. Like, oh, no, well, it had bad timing that by the time it finally came up for a vote, COVID was just starting to hit. So I was like, I knew it was due, and I didn't even ask for a postponement. But basically, I've gone from my 2 stores that I had before paying $1,000 a year in a business license fee to now paying $25. Wow.
Big.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
That's a lot more change in my pocket. That's for sure.
You know,
I $50, but you know what the heck. $50, I wouldn't have batted an eye at that. You know, any more than I did at 25.
I had made some overtures to you guys and to our viewers that we would have celebrity guests on tonight, and we've started. Our first celebrity guest, in fact, is already here. In case you didn't know it, let's take a look at this real quick.
Putting myself in that group of people behind in their Christmas shopping. Perhaps Timmy Zell can help us this morning.
Yeah, Tim is in Belleville this morning where he's found a one-stop place to fill out every bit of gifts on the list, right, Timmy?
Wish list. Dave Dyer joining us this morning here at Cosmic Comics and Collectibles. And if there's a collector on your wish list, this is the place to do.
This is the place to come. This is your childhood all wrapped up in one big giant store.
You got the old and the new. First the new.
Yeah, you gotta have Groku.
The Baby Yoda, as it's been called now. We just found out its name.
I know. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
There you go. But there it is. But you've got all kinds of comics and collectibles, obviously.
Yeah, we have new current issues, back issues, you name it, current toys, old collectible toys. Everything.
And look who up's here. I don't know if he's shopping for himself or not, but it looks like Santa Claus is a Voltron fan.
He just appeared.
Look at this, guys. Okay, so dads, maybe uncles, grandpas that grew up in the 80s, look at this. This is beautiful. If you're looking for something for Santa, I would love this for Christmas this year.
Santa has a wish list.
He does. See, even
yeah. I think he's found his thing.
I think he has.
I'll let Mrs. Claus know that. And then you are the largest retailer of Godzilla.
That's correct. I am in the Midwest. In
the entire Midwest.
And I know that for a fact because when I had a customer came in and he was looking at our big Godzilla collection, and I said, "Well, I'm the largest Godzilla retailer outside of Chicago." And he goes, "Well, I'm from Chicago." I go, "You are?" I go, "Well, where do you go to get your Godzilla stuff?" He goes, "Nowhere. There's no Godzilla in Chicago." I go, "Okay, then I'm the largest retailer in the Midwest then."
There you go. Specific needs here. If you've got a Godzilla need on your wish list, boy, this is the place
especially with Godzilla versus King Kong coming out. Absolutely.
There you go. Santa's taking notes. He knows where to shop for those folks who put a little Godzilla on their wish list. You got a little bit of everything, and of course, comics.
Absolutely. That's what we specialize in. In the front window here, we've got our new comics. This was our little COVID project, was to create this beautiful triangle monstrosity, but it works.
It does work. Yeah. Hey, and if you're looking for that special collectible, for that special someone on your wish list, you got to come here. Belleville, great place to shop right here. Cosmic Comics and Collectibles. We'll be giving you the tour all morning long right here in downtown Belleville. That's Fox 2 News in the morning.
Thank you.
Celebrity status.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That might be one of the best those type of things I've seen.
Well, it's so funny because in the area that I'm in, guys, there's a little bit of an elitist kind of thing going on here, where they encourage you to join their Belleville downtown club for $250 a year. And if you do that, then you can be picked for spotlights, and when they do the chili cook-off, you can have a booth in front of your shop and all that. And I've always been against that, especially during this COVID thing. I was like, guys, I got to watch every penny I'm doing. Well, I get a text from one of the ladies down here who I became friends with, who's not part of that association. And she said, hey, Tim Azell, who does Fox 2 News local here in St. Louis, he would like to, we'd like to film in your shop. Are you cool with that? And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. And she was told when she asked, when she came to Belleville, she said, well, we'd like to shoot at Cosmic Comics. And the lady who runs the Belleville Main Street, she goes, well, they're not members. And I'm like, we got to stop that mentality now. We really have to. They came in, they did this thing last Friday, and guys, come Saturday, the floodgates opened up, and we've been doing fantastic. And by the grace of God, we did it, man. We did it.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm just
Hear bells?
amazed. Yeah.
Are you guys hearing bells?
I'm always hearing bells.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Barron.
Woo-hoo! Mike.
Michael, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. I'm still hearing bells. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Chin.
Hey.
All right, Don.
Hi, Mike. Hi, guys.
RJ, you should put them on top.
I did.
Yeah. Put us down below. We're nobodies.
Exactly. There you go. That's
There you
much
go.
better. One more. There you go.
There we go. Good.
Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for coming in.
Our pleasure.
You're welcome. I got to put my Christmas hat on to match you, RJ. Here we go.
Well,
God, we are the lower end down here on the low row. We're not very festive at all.
Obviously not.
I
mean, actually, Mike, do you have Michael, Yule, and I? We don't have any Christmas crap behind us.
Where's that Christmas?
Oh, wait a minute, neither do you guys. Yeah.
I actually have a snow globe.
No, there you go.
I have all this crap I got probably at a Christmas one day. one year.
And Mike, you just had a naked woman run behind you there. And a naked and a dog.
Not quite. Not quite.
Christmas comes early at Mike Barron's house.
I tell you, Mike Brown's partying, man.
She's Santa's little helper.
I wanted to show you all out of respect. This actually has a Giants logo.
Oh, very nice. No, I do always wear my beanies backwards, so you know what I was wearing as I'm walking past you.
There you go. Mike, you got a good Santa's helper there.
That's the way to do it.
I like that.
He can't see the computer anymore.
That's
now it's
perfect.
been pushed down over his eyes. I'd wear the beard. I've got the beard and the hair, but I'm drinking the eggnog and it would just get caked all over.
Is that eggnog with alcohol? Or?
Alas, I wish it were, but it is not.
Whose fault is that?
Mine I will say mine for not buying any alcohol to put in it. However, unemployment check only goes so far. So
you can't buy alcohol with food stamps, right?
Well, I'm not on that yet.
I'm just joking, but I think that's the truth thing.
I'm between contracts is all it is. I've got another contract coming up. I'll be happy to start that up. Gosh, Mike, we have you got a special project going on here. You have this Badger novel happening.
Yeah, we got about 12 hours left.
Well, the good thing is you beat that goal. You got over the top.
Yeah, we did. I'm very grateful to our backers. Steve Rude did a print for us. I just posted it on your message on Twitter.
Oh, I'll pull that up in a second here. You got some really great
Thank you.
stretch goals on that too. All this extra art that comes with that people can get. Original art from the original series days.
And it's on Kickstarter.
That's a Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's about Badger versus the Devil.
The Badger versus the Devil?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Is there any illustrations in it by any chance?
No, it's what I call a pictoless word narrative.
Good. F them artists.
they charge too much anyway.
Exactly. Sorry, Don.
Sometimes it's better to work without an artist, right, Mike?
Well, no, it's a different thing. A literary experience is very different from a comic, and you can do a lot more. I love comics, and we're going to be doing more Badger comics, but this story demanded to be told as a novel. It's a big book. It's a dense book, and it's a lot about the blues because it's about how Badger befriends legendary blues guitarist Dalton Seabury. And when Dalton was a young man, he went down to the crossroads and made a deal. And now the deal has come due, and it climaxes at Battle of the Bands when Ham throws a blues festival in a pasture in Wisconsin.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And Don, you've got something going on here too. If I can.
I do. I got a couple projects. Actually, Mike is. Oh, we'll go ahead and. Mike has not seen this.
Let's just go ahead and show it.
He's in this project. Buffering.
My name is Professor Baldy, and I run a school for juvenile delinquents. But not just any delinquents. Mine are specially gifted. You might even call them mutants.
I bought this spoon at Walmart. I have the receipt.
Get on with it. Trust a few reformed ex-cons. Tangerine.
Am I the apple of your eye, Bubba?
Jeannie Gray. Beast Bow. Oh, everybody dance now. Snow Cone.
Is it hot in here, or is it just me?
And their friends from X-Files. Cable TV.
Remote control, frog-face.
Garfell. Meow. Dominoes.
This book has just the right amount of cheese.
And introducing the Newt Mutants. Beware the rest. Magneto. Mistress Piggy. And not all breaking the fourth wall. Cesspool. Now, Verity Press Comics is back with X-Files Reloaded #1. Don't miss this extraordinary comics extravaganza with 7 full color stories of marvelous mutant mayhem. Back this book today for awesome variant covers and original artwork tiers. 48 pages of action and hilarious hijinks by some of comics' funniest talents. Verity Press, making the world laugh again. Only on Indiegogo.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So how much did it cost to get Patrick Stewart in to do that voice, Don?
He was cheaper than Hugh Jackman.
Okay, that was very cool to see all those voices, like you had word balloons, to hear all those voices doing that.
Thank you.
Did you put that together?
We did. This has been in the works for a while, and that's almost the final draft. There's still some voice and music edits, but I wanted to say before we showed the video that Mike Barron is actually contributing to this book as well. So it was nice to know that he was a guest on here. And so he's got a color story in there, and we're really excited to do this book, and we're hoping it'll be in people's hands by April 1st or earlier of next year.
I'm about ready to peel my top off right now and hang it on my fireplace so there's a place to stuff it when Santa comes down my chimney here.
Thank you.
Will you have it available for retailers?
I will. I have a retail pack as well.
Good, good.
It's quite hilarious.
Jay sent that to me. Yeah, we'll definitely carry it here.
Thank you.
That looks awesome. Looks awesome. Oh no, man, looks great. Looks great.
That's Steve Sketch going on with the Badger novel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Level.
At a
$100 backer level for a book and the print.
$100 level backer for the book and the print. Everything is signed. I may write I may write a little story inside the front cover too.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Did Steve Rude, did he ever do Badger before?
Well, dude's drawn Badger when Badgers appeared in Nexus.
Okay.
And he does make an appearance in this new Gormando book that the dude is crowdfunding for.
That's the way of the future.
Yeah, but
really
we do have
is.
plans for more Badger comics. In fact, I plan to adapt the novel. The novel's going to blow your mind. I'm really proud of it.
I can't wait.
Because as I said, a novel is not a comic. You can do a lot more with a novel than you can with a comic. I love comics. I'm never going to give them up. But with a novel, and you know this from your own experience, you can paint an indelible picture that will stay with you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me read his mind. The gaps sometimes. Really create quite an image.
See, guys, where is Belleville? What state is that in?
Belleville is its own planet.
Southern Illinois, Mike.
No, Belleville, Belleville is in Illinois, Metro East. Yeah, it's right outside of St. Louis. About 35, 40 minutes outside of St. Louis.
Dave is my local comic shop guy when I have money.
Great.
Yeah. I'll go spend it there.
Yes, he will.
So now that you're all here, I wanted to ask, since it's a Christmas episode and we're comic book guys, do you have any particular favorite Christmas memory where it was comic book related? And I'll start because I'll just say I was about 6 years old, and the present I got two presents that Christmas. One was Amigo Aquaman. Now, of course, that was like, that's like the superhero nobody wanted even then. Was the Amigo Aquaman, but it came in that purple box. He had the cloth outfit on. But then I also got
such a bad rap. Poor Aquaman.
Peter David rescued him, as far as I'm concerned, and then everybody else just kind
Aquaman was one of my favorite Mego figures that I had.
Really?
I'm not making that up. I love water, and I was a swimmer in both elementary and high school. So to me, I wanted to be Aquaman, and if I couldn't be Aquaman, I wanted to be Man from Atlantis. So there you go.
I remember that show.
I want web fingers. I'm gonna make web fingers next year and wear them all year long.
Not Manimal, right?
Not Manimal. No. Or Automan. Remember Automan? He turned into a car.
I do remember Automan. Yeah. That's because I'm like a TV junkie. I mean, I really shouldn't remember that.
I have an Ottoman.
Yeah, those are better. They're definitely better than Automan.
I was gonna say they used to have a whole empire up until people started putting their feet on them.
Till people started walking all over.
Exactly. And then the cool gift I got was the RC car, and this was like click it to go backwards, click it to go forwards. And when it went backwards, it went left. Went backwards. But it was the 1966 Batmobile with Batman and Robin sitting in it, and it couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 inches. But that's when I was like, and it had the big antenna sticking off of it. You click it real loud, and it goes. You click it again, backs up, takes off in the next direction. And I was chasing stuff with that. Mr. Barron, any memories that you want to share?
Well, not really. They were all a haze to me. The Christmas memory that I associate with comics was an Uncle Scrooge comic and the Donald Duck comics when they had those special Christmas issues. Because Karl Barks is the guy that got me into comics.
Oh yeah, Karl Barks was the greatest.
Great storyteller.
Yeah, you know, in fact, when I was a very young man, I rode away to him. I tracked him down. He was living in Portland, and I see it. And I was like 10 years old. I said, "Mr. Barks, would you draw an Uncle Scrooge for me?"
Oh, let me give this full screen, Mike.
Holy cow! Get out of here!
That's
oh
awesome.
my god!
Wow.
Wow.
That's priceless. That is absolutely
That
priceless.
is.
I don't know how I've hung on to it all these years.
You're lucky. Hey, I hear bells again.
No!
There he is.
Ho, ho, ho.
Billy Tucci.
Hey, Billy.
What's up,
Right
everybody?
on. Hello,
Are we
Billy.
drinking?
Yeah,
we
sure.
We are.
Hot damn. I got to get a drink then. Let me pop off real quick.
Get a hat.
Get a hat? Do I got any
Yeah,
hats?
get your Christmas hat on.
I don't have a
one,
Christmas
so.
hat. I do need a Christmas hat. I just
I
got a
don't either.
haircut today. But Dave doesn't have a hat on. and
So
neither
did
does
I.
Mike.
You see that? I did too, guys.
Oh, we lost Michael
I
Tierney.
look all.
And we know we're going to be losing Dave soon too.
Is that because they don't have? Is that because they don't
Yeah.
have hats on?
You gotta
It's
have
not
a hat
a-
if you want to be in the band.
Dave
That's because my
is
wife's birthday.
risking all marriage because his wife's birthday is today,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys all know we love my wife, so even you guys do.
All right, we really want to get a drink real fast. I'll see if my
Awesome.
son's got a Christmas hat. Give me a second, all right? I'll be right
All
back.
right.
Should I leave the camera on or no?
Yeah,
Pop
leave it
out.
on. Don't worry about it. We're just going to case the
Only if you can put a
Yeah.
new person.
You
You have somebody
make that
naked
a
up
big
there.
screen, please, so I can check what's going on behind us.
What's he got in the back of that? What is that anyway?
Make Billy's a
What's he got
screen
back
big,
there?
RJ. Let's
Let's
spy for real.
Right. What is that?
Oh, a
yeah,
plethora
those
of
Japanese
cheese things, of course.
No, yeah. So I don't know if any of you guys are old Kiss fans or not, but back when Kiss was in Japan, when they played at Budokan, like 3 days in a row or whatever, they did all these stills, pictures, and they were holding one of those damn things, and I forget what those are called, but they're like good luck charms or something. I don't know. We'll have to ask him when he comes back.
Version of a Fabergé egg.
Okay, yeah. I
was
want to know
told
what
on
that is, though.
I'm really happy about that because I've loved Paul Lynde all my life.
Oh my
And
God, I love
being
Paul Lynde
Center
too.
Square is
Yeah,
like
the
a
Christmas
dream of mine.
Well, that was a
right?
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween special.
Why are we talking
Okay.
Paul Lynde? Because I love Paul Lynde too.
I'm Center Square, dude.
Oh.
Well,
my
we
name-
were talking about that Japanese thing you have in the back. What's that Japanese thing in the back? Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. So this right here, this guy, that is called a Daruma doll. So
That's
what
it.
It's a festival in Japan that starts every December through March. And what it is, it's based off of, his name is, the first one I had for the last campaign was Bodhi. And it's based off of a Indian priest named Bodhihara. So Bodhihara went to China and achieved enlightenment in a temple for 12 years or so he spent. So, sorry, I just went up the stairs. So basically every year in Japan now they have this festival and it comes, I know the light's a little bright, but the eyes are white. And when you have a goal in mind, you fill in one side, and then when that goal is achieved, you fill in the other. So that's the first
Wow.
one. The first one was named Bodhi, and this is Johnny Utah. So
Hey Billy, is that the Stan Lee biography I see behind you on your right? Is that Danny Fingeroth's book, that red book?
yeah. This is part of my and he signed it to me. Who shows us all how to do it? Oh, that was nice. He said. So this is part of my Christmas New Year's reading.
Yeah, I just finished it.
How is it?
Great.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. So that's why it's there. And then my buddy wrote a screenplay, a friend of mine, about Errol Flynn going to Cuba in 1957 before he died. So I'm looking forward to reading that too. and drinking my scotch.
Drinking the scotch.
There we go.
Salute. And first of all, Mike, great to see you. Don, it's been a month of Sundays, my friend, since we last broke bread. You old 7 times the son of a chimpanzee. How you been?
I'm great. Thank you, Billy.
Well, it's good to see you, buddy. Salute. And thank you for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for coming, man. We were just talking about favorite Christmas memories we had that had to do with comic books, and maybe something we got as a kid when we were still comic book geeks fans. And Don, we had gotten to your square.
Okay. I can't recall if it was a Christmas gift, but it was definitely something that stuck with me a long time. And I was a big comic strip fan before I got into comics. And somebody gifted me a Mattel set of Peanuts books. And they had they were hardbound, and they came in a cardboard slipcase, and there's like 8 volumes or something. And they had flip covers. So like one half was one book, and then the other half was the other book. And they'd either be, with Snoopy on the cover or the Peanuts gang. But that was something I just read until the covers came off. And I remember vividly the way that Charles Schulz would tell the Christmas story, and then reading the comic strip and then seeing it put into the animated special, which I actually just watched this morning on Apple TV. I almost got I got a lump in my throat when Linus gets up there and says, that's what the Christmas story is all about, Charlie Brown. And to me, that's like probably the fondest memory I have that's comics related. It's just getting that Peanuts book set and reading it and just thoroughly enjoying it and still having those memories even, 50 years later.
Yeah, I love those Charles Schulz books. And it's interesting to watch his art progress too, from the early strips to where it got to.
Yep.
I love the early stuff. I got a book of that, of the early Peanut stuff, and I just loved that. I just thought it was so charming. And they looked like little kids, right? They looked a lot younger.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were brilliant. I love them, but I love them all, of course, obviously.
I check those out at the library all the time.
Oh,
yeah. Weren't they called Little Folks, and then some editor changed it to Peanuts?
I think you're right.
Oh, really?
Boy, yeah, that's a great trivia question. That is a great trivia question. You know what? I'll have to ask my friend in Vegas, who has the largest collection of Peanuts that I've ever seen, and I just mailed her some stuff for her collection. I'll have to ask her that. She knows the whole history of all of that stuff.
Well, Billy, you've got a Indiegogo that's wrapping up here in 8 hours, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. Before we go, we'll go into In Demand. And it's 7 hours left though, so we might have changed from there. Hopefully we did. We made a little more, but I'm just over the moon. We're on our 30th day. It's exclusive Indiegogo. It's Monday we launch on Kickstarter for the Kickstarter backers, because we did get over 1,000 backers on Kickstarter, and I'm just friggin' pumped. I'm just so excited about it. I feel so blessed, that people can, when you bring back a book for the first time in 15 years, like we did with Return of the Warrior, which is the prequel to this, you don't know if people are going to remember the book, I mean, I know I published over 100 She comics, and we sold, it sold a lot. Man, I think we sold over 3 million She's, but it's been 15 years at least since the last She. So You don't know if people are going to remember it, people are going to come back, and man, boy, oh boy, have they. And we're just incredible. It's just an amazing feeling. And just thank you for having me on. And thank you everybody who's backing it. And if you guys want to back it, that would be just great. And
holy cow. Beautiful artwork. Beautiful artwork.
I ordered the first She for
What's that?
I said I ordered the first She, number 1 from Capital, I think it was.
Yeah.
The comic book store that I worked at. Well, I had to come on, I can do the order. I swear I can do this right.
Yeah.
And I bought a ton of She.
Oh, dude, well, you have changed my life by buying that book, and that's going to lead to my Christmas story that's comics related when it comes to my turn. But the difference that a whole year made, I'll tell you when it's my turn, when we come to me. But that was the first thing I thought about.
All right. Well, you know what?
What did he say?
There you go. It's his turn now.
Oh, it's my turn now because I said that.
I moved you to the head of the line.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you got to think.
No favoritism on this show.
Yeah.
Well, he's already in the middle of it. He might. I mean, he's already got the.
What the hell?
That's awesome, man.
Go ahead with the story already.
Okay, so
up.
you got to say it would start at at San Diego Comic-Con 1993. That was my first San Diego, and I actually went with a portfolio trying to get work. And I think I drafted up a 4 or 5 page Daredevil story, and it didn't go so well. No one really. I mean, I got some job offers, like Malibu offered me a cover or something. But I got embarrassed by an editor at Marvel because I did a warehouse scene. I didn't freaking know, I'm like, I'll do a warehouse scene. And I remember he looked at it and he goes, Jesus, C. If another warehouse scene, and he goes, hey, Charlie, to the other editor, and he shows up my portfolio. Look, another effing warehouse. This is a Marvel editor. Another effing warehouse scene. If I see one more warehouse scene, I'm gonna punch whoever's art it is right in the face. And I'm like, first thing, I'm gonna rip this guy across the table and rip his head off, But I can't. I'm trying to break in, And so then he's flipping through it, and then he gets to. I had the first 10 pages of She #1 that you ordered, Carl and Carter, and he's like, oh, this is kind of interesting. What is this? And I said, oh, it's my, my own little comic thing. He's like, yeah, well, come back in 6 months. Come back in 6 months. I think you'll be ready in 6 months. But he totally dismissed me. And I remember I met Brian Polito was there with Evil Ernie. He had a small 6-foot desk table in the Independent Pavilion. I didn't even know if it was that. It was just small press. And he was the first pro to actually treat me like a normal peer, like he treated me like a human being. He treated me with respect, and he offered me a job to do a pinup for Lady Death. But so on the plane ride home, and I'm poor. I had saved up all my money to go to San Diego for the hotel room, all that stuff. So, and I thought I could get a job, DC, Marvel, Image, something like that. And I'm on that plane. I'm like, so I call my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and I'm like, you know what? And I can share a video, which is kind of funny. And I said, you know what? She's like, how'd it go? I said, oh, it went good. But I didn't want to tell her it really didn't go that good. And I'm like, I got this comic I want to do. Why the hell can't I do my own friggin' comic? I can do my own book. I didn't know how. I didn't know anything, the first thing about doing a comic. And that was August 1993. If you want me to share a video, it's kind of cool.
Share it.
All right, let me find it. Hang on. It'll take you 2 seconds to find it. But then San Diego Comic-Con came out. Yeah, I'm sorry, San Diego Comic-Con 1994. We were so popular that and we were like the bee's knees at that show. And they actually had to move us out of our booth in small press, Independent Alley. We were across from Don Simpson and Stan Sakai. Jeff Smith was a few things down. Brian was on the corner around from us. And they moved us to the autograph area because there was so many people with She #1 that wanted She #1 sign. And then I made a little black and white, edition of She #1 too. And it was crazy. And they put us next in the autograph booth. They put us next to Shatner. I'm like, oh my God, Mr. She's like, wow, you seem to be very busy. And I'm like, yeah, I made a comic book. I don't know. It is like, wow, this is great. You seem to be doing very well. I'm like, yes, Mr. Shatner, I think so. But it was great. But let me just find the video, and I can show you what happened.
I thought you were going to say that that the Marvel editor passed by you and you drew him up a quick sheet, and she was standing in a warehouse and said, "Here, take this."
Oh no! But the funny thing is that editor got fired from Marvel, laid off in like 96, 97, and called me for a job.
Wow.
Did he remember you?
I'm surprised Shatner didn't ask you to make a comic book about him.
All right, here we go. So let me. I'm going to open this page. Hang on, put it over here. Whoop, sorry. Apologies. All right, so let me go to StreamYard and I'll share it. But the local news came down to San Diego Comic-Con, and then they did the feature
Hey,
on
RJ,
my
you have
and Lady Death.
Not here yet.
What?
RJ, you're gonna have to bump Yule and put me in place because my wife just yelled at me. So
Okay. Well.
Okay.
I shared it. RJ's leaving?
No. Dave's leaving.
No,
It's his wife.
I have to leave, so I have to take Yule's place to tell my Christmas story, and then I'm out. So,
okay. Tell you
because
okay.
my wife's birthday.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, tell it now. Tell it now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, mine's really quick. I'm doing it. All right. So for my Christmas, here's what my parents gave me, and it was the most important thing in my life. Even though I'm not a comic book artist, but I am a writer. But it was this: How to Draw the Marvel Way.
Yeah.
And guys, mine was a hardback version, which I used so much during my elementary school days that the pages fell out. And I think I still have it in a box somewhere. But this was the book that changed my life, made me want to be a comic book artist, even though I'm not one. So I own a comic book store. Hey, all right, second runner up. But this was the one that did it. And God, come on. You guys all know what I'm talking about. What a great book. What a great book.
Yeah.
So it changed my life. That was my. What was that?
Dave,
Anybody?
Do you know the name John Tartaglione? Longtime Marvel inker, artist. He did the Pope comic. Yeah, you know, John. He's my best friend's dad. So he
wow.
He's the one who told me I should be a comic artist, and he actually gave me that. I have a copy of his. It's the hardcover. It's the with the blue cover and all.
Yeah.
And I cherish that.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah, mine was the blue hardback. When you took the paper off, it was that blue hardback version, and that's dating me, guys. But yeah, and it's so great because I just got this back into the shop. It just came in this week's shipment, and I'm so glad.
Yeah,
decades and decades, a lifetime ago, and this is still in print as it should be.
Yep.
So, Sal, John Buscema, come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish more artists working for the mainstream today would have a copy of that in their shelves.
Yeah,
Because they obviously don't.
Well, look, guys, cheers to you. Merry Christmas. God bless all of you guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Dave.
Good luck to everybody out there. I can't wait for the retail tier for us. We'll bring it into the shop. I also want to do a shout out really quick to Heroinberg, guys.
Yeah, where's Heroinberg?
Merry
He's
Christmas
here.
to Heroinberg.
Hey,
they're in the chat.
Hey,
love
thank you,
those
Heroinberg.
guys.
Thanks, buddy.
So, cheers to all you guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Love
Dave.
you. Be safe. We'll talk after the first of the year, right, RJ?
Absolutely. We'll start up in January. And happy birthday to Susan. Take her out for some more night.
Happy birthday to your wife, Susan. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Love you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you, Dave.
All right.
See ya.
Okay, yes.
All
Well,
right,
let me share it. I'll make
video
it big. Hang on. And so this was San Diego. This is 1994. And I'll get to my Christmas story all from this. Hang on. Here we go. Right?
KNSD, Denise Yamada, Roland Smith, and Joe Lazaro Weather. KNSD First News at 4.
Hello, everyone. I'm Margaret Radford, in for Denise Yamada. Move over Superman, it no longer takes a male superhero to knock down the enemy. We visited the San Diego Comic Convention today and found that more and more comic heroes have brawn, brains, and breath. The comic convention always draws a crowd. People can't wait to get their hands on Superman, Spider-Man, and she. She? Her name means death in Japanese, and she's hot.
But she's not a bimbo. She has intelligence. She has depth. She does not have the balloon boobs and the overly curvaceous body. She's realistic.
Some people might dispute that, but the fact is, readers love her. And a growing number of fit and mighty don't mess with me powerhouses.
Oh yeah, I like tougher women, you know. I'm not explaining, like more independent type women.
The independence of them, because they don't need a man to bring them through everything.
Lady Death certainly doesn't need a man to help her solve problems. In one obvious way, she stands out from the others.
Yeah, very well endowed.
Very much so. We hear everything from does Lady Death's back hurt, and all sorts of other rude things. But once they read the story, they realize that she's very cool and she's more than a breast or two breasts or just one big huge one.
The stories are very well written. They give them a brain and things that weren't there 20 years ago. But they still the sex is there because sex sells.
But their creators, nearly all men, deny practicing a sex sells strategy.
She does show skin, but I think tastefully. I mean, I'm going to keep the comic book tasteful. Personally, and that there's nothing more beautiful in the whole world than the female form.
Wonder Woman has kept her form for some 50-some years, but some things never change. Teen boys are the primary readers of comic books, and many don't really like girls.
I think that there are little heroes than there was, but still it's not an equivalent balance. I think it's reflective of our readership and sometimes of our creative pool, still being primarily male.
Then again, Superman never had a swimsuit issue, and Lady Death does. The San Diego Comic Convention runs through Sunday at the San Diego Convention Center.
So
awesome.
Isn't that an awesome time capsule? You know,
I had to mute my mic because I was laughing throughout the whole
I
thing.
know, dude. This is my wife, and she's like, she's not a bimbo. And the funny thing is, my character isn't. You'll see the poster behind me. That's the same first poster that we had, and my character isn't overly curvaceous, or well endowed, really. But I made her just for that poster. I didn't make her bigger because I'm like, oh shit, we'd sell a lot more posters. But I just think what a great time capsule of that, and then Francisca Polito, and how adorable she is, and just it was good times, man, good times.
I'm just glad the news came on and educated me that 15-year-old boys don't like girls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
like, teenage boys don't like girls. It's like, really? I'm like, okay.
So, Billy, I've never seen that clip. That you had you and Brian, and then Bill Mouse was in there with Nira X, and that was a book that we published together. So that's show them that.
Wait, you published Nira X?
Yeah, I was the publisher with Bill Mouse.
Oh wow! So why weren't you on camera?
I don't know.
Were you there at San Diego that year?
Oh yeah, I was shilling books and.
Do you remember when the news people came around and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you were like the rock star that year, but we were just kind of. Just getting your breadcrumbs, but we did all right with it.
Don went home that night and said, "We need a hamster with boobs, honey."
So my Christmas story is with comics is that it was, oh my God.
Somebody's persistent.
Yeah, can I call her later? There you go. Sorry. It's my wife's college roommate. Anyway, we were going to see for New Year's, and I called her earlier, and now she's calling me. You know how it goes, right? So anyway, so I was really poor in 93, Christmas 93, especially because by then I had started to solicit but I had to pay for the ads. I had to pay an inker. You have to start. So any money I had, I was doing freelance work, designing T-shirts and stuff like that. If you ever saw Betty Boop on the motorcycle turning around, that's me. I drew that. But it was rough. I was 6 months behind in my rent. And then Christmas 94, after she came out, everything had changed. My life had completely changed. And I remember I went to a restaurant in New York City called Ernie's, and I took my wife. And I don't know if the bill was $110 or whatever it was, but I gave the guy a $100 tip in cash. And the waiter came back and he said, "I'm sorry, there must be some mistake." And he's like, "You gave me a $100 tip." And I said, "It's Christmas." Like that. And you know what I mean? And it just like, wow, I can make it, comics, you're brought up to learn that comics is an industry where you could literally make hundreds of dollars. So and why not give a few of them away? So that's really my best, my best, Christmas story is about that, because I felt so good doing it, sharing it, and that's why I'm like, man, we'd be really good millionaires. Someday we'll all be millionaires, and we'd be really good rich people.
Yep.
Someday. Who knows? But it made that guy's, it made his whole night and everything like that. And it was just great that I was able to afford to do that.
Yeah, because he got to go home and probably do something for his family that he.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Can you imagine, Billy and Mike and Don? You know, if you were doing independent comics back then, if we'd have had this internet and crowdfunding thing, how much different you'd have been at taking the approach on these things?
I still haven't figured it out.
Well, it's work. I mean, my voice is hoarse. I go on, I go live every day for a while, to pitch it. I send updates every day. The funny thing about when you're a self-publisher, and it's more so now with the crowdfunding, because you do it by yourself, because you don't have your Diamond rep, or your Capital City rep. You don't have your the retailer to buy the book. You know what I mean? You don't have the books being picked up directly from the printer like Diamond would do and distribute it for you. You have to do all that on your own.
Yeah.
But as Mike attests, when the PR department is working, when you're crowdfunding a comic and self-publishing, the art department isn't working. And when the art department isn't working, the writing department's not working. So you have to be everything. You have to be a carnival barker in a way, and or a ringmaster in a circus or something, and try to juggle all these things and make sure it keeps going. But you keep going and you're honest. And I think if you're passionate about it, I think that the passion and enthusiasm is contagious. And if it's real, because you see these people that just do a book, say because I want this to be a movie. Sure. And they'll just try to check all the right boxes to make something. And we all got into comics, because we loved it. We loved it. We didn't get it for the money. We got into it because we loved it. We wanted to make these books or draw these books or write these books of these heroes that we grew up with, that we adore. And it hurts us when they do something wrong with it. When they ruin these characters, which the big two seem to be doing now with a lot of, just to make an extra buck, a quick buck or something.
Almost on purpose. It's like they're trying to drive it into the ground.
Yeah. I think.
Well, is it trying, or is it just grasping at their last straw as far as they see it?
I think there's an element of ideology in there, and that they've forgotten that their main mission is to entertain.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Mike, because the thing is that comics have always been political, and they showed Captain America punching Hitler in the face. Well, every American wanted to punch Hitler in the face.
Yeah.
Now they're bringing up these things, these extreme. Whether it's, you could do it on the right, say, or on the left, but they bring up these extreme points that very, very few percentage of the populace is even aware of or cares about it, or, that wants to see more of that, to read that, to have, because they seem to be playing identity politics, and that's what's pushing the books. The books are not what's in the book, but it's who the character is, or who the writer is, or who the artist is. That seems to be more that they're driving their identity more so than, I think, their record or their talent or their ability.
They've forgotten that the comic's main purpose is to entertain. That's rule number one. The writer's job is to entertain, and the artist too. Rule number two is show, don't tell. And rule number three is be original. But number one is primo. It should be obvious. But many things that should be obvious today aren't.
Yep.
Now we're talking about IPs and mainstream comics that are going to be around for 20, 30, 100 years type thing, right? Not necessarily your own creator-owned thing, because she can run she doesn't have to go through editors. Nobody that you don't want to tell you how to do things.
I got two pretty tough editors.
Right. Within reason, but it's still your direction, I would assume.
Yeah.
And Mike, I don't know about your novel, but you don't have to worry about a distributor or a company telling you, oh, well, we can't have that type of thing necessarily in this book, right?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to adhere to that lesson like you would if it's like a major company that's going to exist tomorrow also.
Yeah. Yep.
Your creation lives hopefully in the imaginations of everybody forever, but unless you sell it off, it's not going to keep going on when you're not with us, right?
Right. Unless, someone's got to carry on the legacy,
Right. That could happen.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be all.
No, that's a great point. That's a very, very fair point.
Have you guys thought about succession plans for your properties?
Billy, you can sign it.
Disney's hiring, or Disney will buy it.
Tom, let's talk. We'll talk, Mr. Chin.
Netflix will get it.
Yeah, but the thing too is that we're again, as Mike said, it's all to entertain, and we want to have fun with these books. Unfortunately, it seems with the big two is a lot that they're doing is that they want to make some kind of statement as opposed to entertain.
Exactly.
And what drives me crazy is that you have these creators then saying things like, okay, remember when Trump won in 2016, and these are creators, say the writer of Spider-Man or something, I don't know what he or she was writing, saying, if you voted for Donald Trump, don't buy my books. I do not want you buying my books. Do me go buy their books. Blah, blah, blah. Like really, like they were so angry and this derangement syndrome, and they were so angry, and like, don't buy my books. And I remember sitting with my wife looking at and these guys are friends of mine, and I'm like, they're not your books. Those are Marvel's books. Those are DC Comics' books. You should run that by DC and Marvel before you start telling people not to buy their books.
Well, then Alana Smith, who's an editor for Marvel, came out and tweeted at the same time, if you voted for Trump, we'll remember who you were.
That's right. Yep. I remembered it was, I think it was the 18th.
I did too.
Yep.
I remembered every single one of them.
Yep. And it was like, wait a minute. And it was, and that's a threat to creators. That's what that is. That's a threat to what?
Definitely sounds that way. Because I was pricing up some comics not too long ago, Billy, and one of them was Jonah Hex, and you did an issue in that.
Yeah.
And awesome issue, by the way.
No,
and I'm thinking, as I'm seeing all these different illustrators and I'm pricing up these comic books, I'm like, I'm not seeing any of these people anymore, and it's real sad.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's funny.
You too, Mike.
But it's like, Darwin Cook told me one time that he said Marvel and DC, he said they will break your heart. Now, I think it was Kirby said comics will break your heart, but the thing is because you invest so much into these characters and you give a pitch or they approach you to do something and then you do it and you work on this for, you write a pitch, you send it to them, it gets accepted. Then you spend 2-3 weeks on breaking, say it's a 6-issue miniseries, which I did a couple of times. And you break it down to 2 pages of what happens in issue 1, what happens in issue 2, what happens in issue 3. So you get the whole complete story so you can start writing the script. And then there's always one and it's happened to me twice, I think. And it, someone there or someone, we're going to pass on that. And you just spend 2 weeks working on something to make, that got the go, the go ahead. And then they don't pay you. And Darwin one time made it. He called Dan DiDio. He's like, I spent 3 weeks on this. Right. And said, I want to get paid, for my time. And he sent him a bill and they paid him. Because you love these characters so much and you come up with something that you think would sell. And I could tell you the stories. And I hope to do in 2022 or 2023 a big book, a big omnibus called Rejected. And it's the greatest comic stories you thought you'd never read. And I want to get all these creators, all my creator friends who gave these amazing pitches that were turned down for one reason or another, idiotic reasons, and then say, why don't you just turn these characters into your own?
Yeah.
Like, so I had Batman stories. So my son and my son who's 14 now, about 10 years ago, or no, not 10, maybe 7 years ago, we came up with a character called, I don't know if I should say it, but yeah, Night Flyer. His name's Night Flyer. There's no comic character called Night Flyer the way we have it. So
Really?
it's going to be my Batman stories.
I did the same thing. I wrote a Batman story, but I knew I couldn't submit it. It was a Batman fan fiction. Fortunately, he was teamed up with somebody else, and that's how I got into being able to write Remo Williams' The Destroyer for Destroyer Books.
Awesome. With that,
based off of a Batman story that I turned in for a fan anthology. I wish I'd remembered to do this before Dave left, because I wanted him to see this. The LCS guys, folks, are actually 4 people. You'll duck out on it. We have, of course, Mike, we have Dave, and then Brian Cook from Blast Beat ATX didn't show up tonight. I sent him the link. I don't know if something's up with him or not, but hopefully he's okay. But we had some hidden camera work, seeing what's going on inside all the LCS around
no.
see what these guys are doing to get ready for Christmas. And it turns out what they're doing is they're taking care of business.
Heck yes. Heck yes.
I have to mail it. Who do we lose? Who do we lose?
They must have ate a lot of candy to have all that energy.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you saw
that was my fighting weight right there.
Michael, we didn't get to hear your Christmas story, and when we were talking about self-publishing, you know a little something about that too.
Yeah, I know nothing. If it weren't for my wife Ann, I would not be able to run any of these Kickstarters. Waiting for the folks, Ann. Yeah, all right. We're gonna have a cameo now from Freddie. We've had a cameo before. We're gonna have another cameo.
Was Freddie gonna get on stream here?
Yeah.
Which side? Over here?
Yeah.
Ready? Look at the camera.
There we go. Always a good to get going.
I just ate cinnamon bread, so he's licking off the.
Ann just ate cinnamon bread, so Freddie's very interested.
He's licking off the sugar off my. Okay.
All right, that's it.
How many dogs
I gotta
do you
go,
have?
RJ. Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas, all you guys.
Mike,
All right,
good to
Mike.
see you. Happy Merry Christmas, buddy.
Bye, Mike. Thanks, bud.
Good to see you, pal.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas too.
I'll get that Kickstarter up there also.
All right, and Michael Tierney. That's the other Mike. We're talking about your Christmas stories and self-publishing.
I always wanted to live by Michael. That narrowed it down a little bit. Because when I was in school, there was always so many mics. The teachers start giving you numbers, but nobody would be Mike number 2. And I just call me Michael. But I've been independent publishing since the 70s. I remember when I was like in 1969, a kid in junior high, and I was trying to sell a short story to Erie Magazine, Warren Publications. And so they brought me back going, oh, thank you for your submission. We're going to run in our fan page. I'm like, I wasn't trying to give it to you. I just wanted to sell it to you, which kind of soured me on the whole submission process. And so in 1977, I was a journeyman printer at that time. So I printed up my own book of all my short stories and all my art at the time. And it was called The Multiversal Scribe. And you did fairly well. And, then I continued to do independent publishing. I started my Wild Stars comics in the 80s, which is based on a line of stories that I've been writing all my life. And actually, if you go back to that story that the Erie Magazine ran, that was actually probably the last Wild Star story. And I've just kind of filled in the gaps ever since then. I've been independent publishing all this time. Now I'm to the point where I don't have to publish anymore. I've got publishers who want to publish it. And I got a great Christmas present this year because my newest Wild Stars novel, number 5, is going to be running in every issue of Kurosawa magazine next year. And I was contacting him going, hey, don't you need me to look at any edits? And he's like, we found like 5 typos. All looks good. So it's kind of nice to be at that point in your career. We're like, change a couple of punctuations. That's about it. And but they were sending me, now they've used to, I'd always have to pay for all the art or do the art myself. Now other people are paying for the art. And one of the guys who's going to be doing the cover is Anton Oxnox, who did the cover for the story that I did posthumous collaboration with Edgar Rice Burroughs on the Young Tarzan. That was on the cover of the first issue of this volume 2 of Kurosawa. So that was a great Christmas present to be to that point.
And have you got that Burroughs book there handy?
Yeah, I can find it real quick.
we always give Mike the chance to show this off because
I can't believe it's not. I can't believe it's not in his lap. It's actually a little disappointing because this guy knows how to sell his stuff. I'm jealous.
it was Christmas, so you know.
I am jealous.
So here's the young Tarzan. He was great to work with as an artist because when he was first sitting in it, I was like, it's way too dark. We need to put a little light in there. I said, you need to put a little glow on her hair. And he did all those things. It turned out to be a great cover. Everybody really liked it. And, the Crossover folks are really good to work with. They just threw it as a bonus and advertisement on the back cover for that Edgar Rice Burroughs art chronology I wrote. So that was a great advertising piece. So whenever they bought this, they also got a plug for that.
Yeah, and that's that huge encyclopedia-sized book that he's got going there. Don and Billy, what he's not telling you here is that young Tarzan piece he got to write was they found an unfinished Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan story.
Oh, okay.
Came to him and finished.
How cool!
Yeah, the story behind the story is actually almost as good as the story itself. I was friends with Danton Burroughs, and they had this fragment that they approached, several well-known writers to try to get him to finish it. And they're like, I see too many problems with it. And I was like, when he showed it to me, I was like, the problem is an asset. I think that's the key to the story is what everybody thinks is why they don't want to write it. And I don't want to give any of the story away, but it worked out great. Everybody loved it. It gets 5-star reviews on Amazon. And then Danton was like, well, after I read it, he goes, well, we can't be published because Ballantyne's got the rights for all the books. They can't do it as a comic because Dark Horse has all the rights to the comics. So it was kind of in limbo. Then Danton tragically passed away. He had worked for his father's country. Danton was the son of John Coleman Burroughs, who illustrated so many of Edgar Rice Burroughs' novels. And, so then he was working up through his grandfather's company. And then when Sandra Galfus, the president, was about to retire, Danton was going to finally move into the job as president of Edgar Rice Burroughs, Inc. Well, the day he becomes president, there's a fire in the Tarzana offices that day. And his father, John Coleman Burroughs' paintings, there were all these paintings, many of them unpublished, hanging on the walls, caught fire and were burnt and destroyed. So there was a day of his great accomplishment. It was one of his days of greatest catastrophe. And Danton wasn't in the best health. He was suffering from Parkinson's. That night he has a heart attack and dies. So now that was tragic as can be. Another fellow, he was going to be working with partners with Danton when he took over the company, Jim Solis. Well, he ends up running the company. Well, I didn't know Jim. I'd never talked to him. So years go by, and so I'm getting ready to do this art chronology, and I was pitching it to a publisher, and I sent him my pitch, and I thought, well, I'll get my rejection in a couple of days. Within hours, I had to, they're like, hey, we want to do this thing. You got to get permission from the Burroughs people. I'm like, I don't know anybody there anymore. I'll give him a call. And so I cold call Jim, and he's like, who are you? What is this you want to do? And I was like, well, I've done this page on my website about, Tarzan's British heritage, about all the British Tarzan comics, because nobody ever written anything about that here in America before. And I just put it up like the day before, and he was like, you wrote that? And bam, I was in the door. I mean, we had an agreement before we got off the phone. And so going through the process of all this thing, I had many conversations with Jim. We had to make sure we had all the things in the book that he wanted to have in the book. I didn't say anything that they didn't want me to say. And through the progress of this thing, I mentioned to him about this, young Tarzan story that I'd finished. Well, he didn't follow what I was saying. He thought this was a story I had written. Well, he gave us permission to publish it, and I kept saying, well, don't you want to put Burroughs' name on it? I was like, no, just put your name on it. Then when they got the terms of the payment, I was like, well, we need to split this. Like, no, you take 2/3. I was like, no, we really need to split this because I only did half of it. And he didn't understand why I wanted to do that. Well, then the day we're signing the contracts, finally they realized, wait a minute, Burroughs, that's a fragment. It had been lost because when the fire happened, I guess all the records went up too. And so they finally understood what I said on the day we're doing the contracts. So we were rewriting the contracts at the last second. And so it was, listed as being about both Edgar Rice Burroughs and myself. Since that time, the fragment has surfaced. There was another fella who Denton had sent the fragment to have him type it up because it was in his handwriting. It was hard to read. And he's like, oh, I've had it all this time. So it was discovered afterwards. So
the original fragment is now found. That's excellent.
Michael, you weren't nervous to work on this story to finish another story?
Yeah, I just knew exactly what to do with the story. It's like when the first Tarzan novel I ever read was Tarzan and the Jewels of Opar. And in the story, and this gives a little bit of away, but doesn't actually give it away. Tarzan gets amnesia. So he's learning who he is as I'm learning who he is because, like, who is this guy? And well, during the process of him gaining his memory back, beautiful Law of Opar is just throwing herself at him. He's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm like, why? You don't remember anybody. And then later he takes one look at Jane. He's charging down guns to rescue her. Like, okay, that's kind of a shit. 1 minute you're turning down Law, now you're just chasing after Jane. Well, when I showed you this fragment, and this is the problem. What everybody thought was the problem of the story was that it opens up with this part by Burroughs that Tarzan's hanging with the apes, and hey, did you hear the native village over there's got a blonde-haired captive? Bam, that's where the fragment is. Where everybody's like, well, Jane was the first blonde person that Tarzan ever met. So I did not change canon. The canon is still intact. I got one guy wrote me a negative review about he changed the canon. He obviously didn't read the story because I don't. But in there, I kind of used that story to explain why Tarzan had such a thing for blonde-haired girls that he would just charge down the guns, whereas Law of Opar, like, no, I don't want none of that. I mean, so I used that story to explain that away, and it's almost like the preface to Tarzan and Jewels of Opar. So it was a great opportunity to do something like that. I really had a blast.
So Jane in the Burroughs books is blonde?
Yeah.
Because she seems to be so depicted historic, like in film, as brunettes.
Oh, yeah, Maureen O'Hara.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, up to, I guess, Bo Derek. I don't even know if she's
Bo Derek.
blonde, but Bo Derek. But and then, of course, with what's her name?
Andy McDowell.
Who?
Andy McDowell. Wasn't she?
Yeah, Andy McDowell. That's right. You had
cousin. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, Margot Robbie is blonde, obviously, but aside from that, they seem to be like all going back to when Elmo Lincoln played him. That all the Janes were always brunettes.
Even the Disney
Edward
cartoon.
Burroughs was so distraught when he saw Enid Markey as the very first Jane that he killed her in the books. he killed her off. Well, that was in the magazine format. Then later, everybody got so upset. What? You killed Jane? So no, actually, it was somebody else. It really wasn't her. He brought her back.
To free up Tarzan, that's why.
Yeah, you go. Free up that loincloth.
Yeah, it's kind of like James Bond this guy up a little bit. Come on.
Jane was the blonde, yeah.
Tarzan sows his wild oats.
Yes, 1,000 times, yes.
So we keep pushing you to the end of the line.
Yeah, I'm at the for my Christmas story.
Yeah, we pushed you to the end there.
I feel very embarrassed because I received a Millennium Falcon and Star Wars figures and all those Mego figures we were talking about. I remember a G.I. Joe plane, all that stuff. And the thing, though, so let's keep this with comic books. I got money and I found my first comic store, and I went there and I bought a Spider-Man comic, and I had bought comics at 7-Eleven and other liquor stores that weren't, corporations before. Like my first comic book I really remember buying was an X-Men 123, and it was just because Spider-Man was on the cover. And of course, the first thing I did with some money at my first comic store is buy a Spider-Man comic. And it was an older issue. And when I got it out of the bag and I never looked and I got it at home, I'm like, this is kind of crappy looking. But all of that's, because of like money I got from Christmas and my first comic store. And now I own a store. Weird.
All those things you listed that you got for Christmas, I'm sure if we get the director's cut of The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, all that stuff's piled up in a corner somewhere in that big treasure room.
Yeah.
Where you got all the gold and jewels, and over here, so there's some Millennium Falcons and some Mego figures.
Yeah, it doesn't include the 2600 or other video game systems over the years. My family really spent more than we really should have ever. And not just for me. I have two other brothers.
Yeah, we still do that, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just my dog and my, my partner.
Well, guys,
one thing I say, is think of how many kids' Christmases you and I have made over the decades.
Oh,
they've come into our stores, got the prizes that they wanted.
Sure. Yeah, man. I mean, and the thing is, I like to hopefully I am able to make that person that gets something that it's something that they really want, a lot of times when I'm doing things like that, it's for customers that already shop at the store, and I'm kind of like piggybacking off of what they already get. But I have a this age person, boy, girl, whatevs, along the line, and there's all sorts of like materials out there for everybody, and to have a knowledge of it, or at least have something that will appease that person, that isn't just like the run of the mill thing. It's pretty rewarding for sure. I like comics. The feeling that I felt buying a comic book is how I feel, when I know somebody really likes something and I get to get it for them.
Yeah, whenever a parent will come into the store and say, "What should I buy my child?" Well, the first question I ask them is, "What do they like? What are their favorite shows? What are their favorite movies?" It has nothing to do with what I like. It's got to be what they want and what they like.
Definitely.
Find that.
That's exactly what was the last comic that they bought? What character do they like? What, just like you said, what genre, you can hit all sorts of things, and usually, peel off into something that they're going to dig. Comedy is the hardest, really. Really adult humor.
I'll drink to that.
No violence. Oh no horrible depiction of women.
And that's what
Those are. I'm like,
oh
man, so many things. Like,
I'm looking for something for my daughter.
Yeah, those are easy. Scholastic.
You get those Peanuts comics.
Which ones?
The Peanuts.
Yeah. Strips are a great way to go for sure.
And Bone, Bone's great too.
Oh yeah. Again, that's like Scholastic. Amulet, Avatar if it's available.
Do you guys get in comic shops? Do you guys order from Scholastic the Smith books, or does Cartoon Books still publish like the old Bone books? Because
the black and white thick volume goes through a different company than Scholastic, who does the color volumes. And I order straight from Scholastic usually. There's always other distributors depending on how you're playing your bills.
Yeah, because I think Jeff and Vijaya, I think they still, like I said, they have the control of the big black and white reprints. So it's probably through them, Cartoon Books.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff and his wife VJ, they're a great team.
Have you guys, Don and Billy, have you ever put together a crowdfunder, and before you launch, you have this thing that you're going to do, and you're going to do it right up front, and you keep it by your computer so it's right there, and then you get like an hour and 18 minutes into your crowdfund and realize that you didn't do it? We were going to do a giveaway tonight. And we actually have the link to the Rafflecopter contest engine in the description below, and it was going to send out people links to this stream as a way of entry. You can still do it. It's running up till midnight tonight. But this is my first novel that I got published in England, Alice's Journey Beyond the Moon. And it is, the publisher always did a 200 issue run paperbacks in hardcover. This is number 162 of 200.
Oh, that's great, RJ.
It's signed by me and by the lady who did the illustrations, and of course I will personalize it. So if there are any entries in there, in case anybody saw it and said, "I don't know what this is, but I'm clicking it," you will be the winner of that hardcover limited edition. My first novel before I got to start writing the Destroyer stuff.
That's fantastic.
Are we ineligible to click or?
Yeah.
No, everybody click. Click.
Right. I need a link to the. I need to go on. I can grab the link, but I want to answer. I can't comment because I'm in StreamYard. Professor Murph, if I may, RJ, answer.
Highlight it.
The rough cut is the full story. Yes, it's 56. The rough cut is 56 pages, and the She Haikyuu comic is 55 pages of story. So yes, it's a complete comic.
So this is the one from before and this one, or not? Or is there a way to
new campaign? No, this is a new campaign. The Return of the Warrior is done. We're done with that.
Is there an add-on to get that one, or are you SOL?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how many we have left. My wife's a smart one, dude. That's
That's a thing I've seen people do. Like, oh, well, we got number 2 coming out. Well, let's throw number 1 on for big bucks.
No, we put it in the hardcover, the same price as the hardcover was of Return of the Warrior. I think that's the only one because most of those, we had, gee whiz, I had like George Perez's last cover that he's done since after
he doesn't do anything anymore ever.
I don't think, not that I know of. We talked to him a few months ago, and but he's like, yeah, I'm just enjoying maybe going out to have going out with Carol on walks and things like that, and he's just enjoying life and we just love him. We call him Uncle. He's in my phone as Uncle George, actually.
Wow.
So he's just but we kind of made those. We wanted it to be special, so we really didn't print a lot, extra. If you sell 170 of them, you're going to print 200. So I might have 20, 30 of each, but some of them I don't. Some of them we have like 10, 11, and then we send, the creators all their, their copies and stuff too.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Well, I am waiting on pins and needles for your other project to come to fruition, the Miss Fury project, because that's just some gorgeous freaking artwork there.
I am so honored that I love that character. I remember when I saw her, they had some of the Marvel books. I think it was either Mile High had it. I think it was Mile High had it in '94, and they had and I bought one of them, one of the Marvel collector, the Marvel prints from '42 or something like that, of Miss Fury, and I just fell in love with this. I'm like, what is that? And yeah, it was Chuck. That's the original Catwoman right there, and I just became obsessed with this character because I think it's one of the most beautiful characters ever created. There's nothing sexier than a black leotard, it's just stunning. And I became friends with Bill Finn, who is him and his brother Kevin are the two the surviving family members of June Tarpe Mills. She was their aunt. And it's amazing of how this woman, Miss Fury, is the first published superhero comic created by a woman. I don't want to say it's the first superhero created by a woman, but it's the first published superhero created by a woman. And it preceded Wonder Woman by 6 months. And it ran in the Sunday strips, and of course Marvel reprinted those strips into comic form from 1941 to 1952. And it's amazing. It's just and we're fitting our story slots right in Miss Fury Joy Division into June Tarpe Mills' continuity. We have all of her original characters. I'm actually using a lot of dialogue that she used for some. We're bringing back a lot of her most interesting characters that are part of Miss Fury canon. And yeah, look at that, 105,000. You got to be kidding me. This is a dynamite campaign, obviously, but it's. I hope it to be my love letter to June Tarpe Mills in the memory of her, because there's no way that everyone who reads comics should know who June Tarpe Mills was, and this amazing creation that she did. And it's stunning. We have Maria Laura Sanapo and Edu Mira are our artists, and they are just fantastic, phenomenal. And I'm sending them hundreds and hundreds of pieces of reference because it takes place during World War II. It's basically Miss Fury is sent behind enemy lines to capture the leader of the German general in charge of the Joy Division. He's a colonel, actually. And he's Colonel Prussia, who is one of the June Tarpe Mills' original characters. And to bring him back on war crimes, because it's 1944, the war is coming to an end. It's after D-Day. It's actually September 1944 when she goes to Germany. And what the Joy Division was, and I'm sure a lot of us remember the band from the 80s, Joy Division, but the Joy Division was what they would take when the Germans amped up their war production. They needed more workers, so they'd go into the ghettos and they would take out, now they need women, so they take out the Jewish women and all. And if you looked one way, you went to the gate to the right, and if you looked another way, you went to the gate to the left. So the ones that looked one way, they were sent to the gate to the right, which was a work camp, where they literally will work to death. The ones the ones that went to the other gate are the ones they felt were more comely. They were more beautiful, more attractive. Some of them as young as 12, 13 years old. And they took them and they coiffed them and they made them up and they taught them etiquette. and they dressed them and they fed them well, and then literally turned them into sex slaves for the German army.
And this is, the thing that I guess I'm not dead yet, Billy, because I'm 53, and the thing that I bought was this risque cover here, but not because it was risque and not because it's just beautifully drawn, but because I'm like, yeah, they've totally risque'd up, Miss Fury here, and you told me, nope, that's actually a redo of June Tarpe Mill's original from the 40s, and we found that actual picture.
Oh, you did? You found it? Yeah. That's directly from June Tarpe Mills, because she was so progressive and so fearless, and she really was a victim of cancel culture. Because in the 40s, when America goes to war, and people became, let's face it, you don't know if these guys are coming home, their boyfriends, their husbands, people, they became more edgy, more promiscuous. So it was good to have more risque, more violence and all. Coming into the late 40s, after the war ended, the United States wanted to go back to that time of a little bit of Puritanism was in there, the Eisenhower years and all. And she put a character in a bikini. And 37 newspapers, bro. 37 newspapers canceled the strip. It wasn't the people. It was the newspaper editors. The fans loved that, but they didn't want the fans to see it, and it broke her heart.
It's always the editors, am I right, guys?
She can't create what she wants to. That she had more freedom when she was younger, when she was in her early 20s and in her 30s, to tell these stories. So again, she's largely, unfortunately, sadly forgotten in comic circles. But we're changing that with this book. And you can see right now we've got 1,539 backers, are attest to that. And again, the whole point is to make sure that she's never forgotten June Tarpe Mills after this book comes out.
And one of the other things I wanted to share here, if I can get the right thing pulled up, George doesn't just work for you, Billy.
Say again?
George doesn't just work for you. Uncle George has done something for Don.
All right. Hey, honey. Say hello to the boys. Oh, my wife brought me a wine. Look at
Well, that's got to be a classic cover, right?
Hello. Merry Christmas.
Hi there, Deb. Merry Christmas.
How's everybody?
Doing great.
We just showed the video of you when you were in San Diego '94.
Again?
Yeah. I showed it on the we had a ladies' night on the Pop XP. So we had Francisca Polito and Debbie was on, and Vijaya Smith was on, and Amanda Connor was on. That was fun, and we played that video when we were all babies. Not a bimbo.
You should go on Twitter and see the Tucci's Christmas tree. It's very beautiful.
Oh, you got to see. Yeah, I'm going to take some pictures tomorrow. You got to see what my wife does to downstairs. It's amazing what she does, how she decorates the house. She was up on a ladder all day, right?
Next year, my husband has promised me that there will not be a campaign at Christmas time, that I can actually invite and have it up before Christmas actually starts.
Yeah, because we're not done decorating.
I'm not going to be done decorating until Christmas Eve. It's terrible.
You'll get the last ornament up when it's time to take it all down.
Basically, yeah, that's about how it's not as fun as I would like it to be. I would like my spirit to match your outfit, RJ.
Yeah.
It doesn't right now.
So the next
I'm feeling very stressed.
Yeah, the next campaign will end in November, and then you can have
not the next campaign.
No, not the next.
Last
the last
campaign
of 2020 will end in November before Thanksgiving. So you can have your Thanksgiving. If it doesn't, she's leaving me.
If it doesn't, enjoy the divorce.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
like that.
It'll be in demand through December, so there's still
I don't
that.
mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. It's all the maintenance and all the constant questions, and once it's in demand, everybody knows what's going on for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's tough running a campaign, and I'm trying to, Billy. I don't know. I haven't told you what I'm doing, but I'm going to tell the whole world right now, and I'm not going to link it yet. You've seen all these crowdfunders coming from the UK and from Australia and Canada, and all these US customers like, I really love that book. I'd pay $12 for that book, but my God, the shipping is just
$50. Yeah.
We're opening up Critical Blast Logistics.
Oh, brilliant.
People are going to, we're telling people, I got the rates all worked out, the currency conversions. I know what it costs me to ship to the penny, including my own fee. And I said, I've showed it to some people, and I showed it to Michael Bancroft in Australia. I was like, what are you paying for shipping per book? He's like, this. I'm like, what if you could pay this? He's like, I'd be all over it. So they're going to drop ship to us. We're going to, in one, because it's cheaper to send one box than to send 150 boxes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're going to drop ship to us. We're going to put it in the bag, the backer, the Gemini mailer. We're going to label it up. We're going to send it out with tracking numbers to all their backers so that they know exactly when it went into the U.S. postal system. And hopefully that's going to make their books more attractive to the U.S. audience.
Well, you know what? You need to, and I'm giving you a little tip here.
I'll take them all.
Do the flip side of that and find somebody to receive in Canada.
Maybe Ricky Appleby in
and
England.
Appleby has his ship to
Florida.
To Florida.
Yeah.
But
like in England, a
find
UK
somebody
retailer.
in the UK,
yeah.
find somebody in Canada, and find somebody in Australia, because
France,
those seem
maybe.
to be the three biggest.
Yeah.
And have them and work with somebody over there and do the same exact thing.
I'll teach them how the money works.
Complain about the shipping, but they, it's not stopping them from buying it. But there's always a comment about how expensive the shipping is.
And if one person
there's anything I can do, I'm like, sorry, it costs $27 just to send one book or 3 books. It doesn't matter.
And if one person's buying it and complaining about it, 20 people are not buying it at all because.
Exactly.
That's right. Yep. That's brilliant, RJ. That's brilliant.
That's really smart.
So I can't draw, so I'm going to get in on the business distribution end of it. I'll be the Steve Geppy of the crowdfunding comics.
Well, if you want on the Pop XP, I'd love to have you on the Pop XP to talk about that.
Absolutely, would love that.
And because we do, a lot with crowdfunding and all, and that would be great. And then maybe even bring you in with some with the UK creators and let them know about it. UK creators are. I have a buddy of mine in Holland, a friend of ours in the UK. Oh, Herrenberg. Hey, Bill Mouse. Bill Mouse is in. Bill, we just showed the video of you from 26 years ago.
He had all the hair moved to his back instead from his head.
Oh my God.
Oh, hey guys, one more.
On Bill, a great interview. They're talking about.
That's a curse of the Lord there.
Mine.
When you have less hair and more.
Hey guys, one other thing I want to bring up here before we get towards the end of the show here. We had one other guest booked for the show to come on. Mike Grell was going to pop in and spend some time with us. He contacted me this afternoon. He is sick. He is in bed. So, Mike's obviously he's in his 80s. And we got COVID going around. So,
obviously, I have no idea.
Get well soon, Mike.
Maybe he took a cold. I don't know. He just said he's under the weather. He's going back to bed, and that was at 2:00 in the afternoon. So,
and he's tough.
Yeah, he is.
I thought he was in his 50s, to be honest with you, like late 50s. I know he's been doing things forever.
Is this one you just bought?
Yeah, it was last
Give me
night.
the wine back.
No, I'm not drinking it anymore. No,
because it's almost gone.
Well, I was on Dan Fraga's show last night.
Let her have it, Billy.
Just lost his wine.
No.
Let her have it.
Sleep out there. You gotta take my
scotch for a bottle and a half on Fraga's show.
You don't know how she is on that.
I'm 54 years old. I could,
Oh man, I feel so young. Come on, Don, tell me. Am I younger? Come on, this will be like one of the few times if I am.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Say again.
How old are you, Don?
Oh, how old am I?
Yeah.
I am 57.
Holy cow! I am the youngest in the room.
Don looks like he's.
Yeah. I'm
my
not
goodness.
even.
Where are you hiding the fountain of youth?
Yeah, where's the?
I don't have bottles of Jack Daniels in my house.
Unless Michael's fooling me, you might have lived a hard life. I have no idea. You 45, Michael?
I'm older.
You're old.
Yeah, but I can't grow a beard. You can grow a beard. That's
well,
cool.
it's a baby face, man. I understand.
I was on a stream last night and I was interviewing a crowdfunder. He's 15 years old, putting out a comic book, and I was like, I feel so old now because he's like talking about these first books he bought where when he was buying comic books in the late 90s, you know, because he was like 13. Like, oh. but he liked old movies. He's like, yeah, I like watching Rocky. When did that come out? I'm like, I don't know. I was too busy fighting dinosaurs for food.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, I remember when I opened up my first store, a 20-year-old comic. That was a comic from the 60s. That was a good book. Nowadays, a 20-year-old comic, not so much.
So sad.
The Mile High guys were banking on those 20-year-old comics because you saw that story we talked about last time we were on, how he had a warehouse that had been invaded and nobody knew. I guess he just had squatters and they had toppled boxes and stomped all over all kinds of books. And they were just 90s comics that he had in there curing so that they would, you know, get older and stuff. But now they're worth a whole lot less.
Well, that makes the other ones out there expensive. So.
Oh, did they? Was it the Superman 123? Oh, is that the one? Is that the Death of Superman issue?
Probably
75, I think.
75. You're right. Yeah, 75. Yeah.
Well, I always say that anytime I'm doing like Instagram or something like that for the store, if I have a Superman 75 that isn't in the bag, I say, "Oh, look, it's a very rare copy."
Yeah. I have two of them. Here's a funny story. So my wife, I told her I was living in Queens and she lived around the corner in Manhattan. She was working around the corner in Manhattan. And remember, you went in to buy. I said, you got to buy this book, the Superman 75, The Death of Superman. There's only 3 million out there. And if you bought it on your lunch break, it was already $10, right? Yeah. They boosted the price of Jim Hanley's Universe to $10. Wow.
Take that, Jim Hanley.
And then he tried to sell her more big books, more $20 books, $30 books. And she came back and she said, this dope, what he should have done was said, hey, well, if you're going to buy 75, you know, I have 70, 74, 73, 72, 71, all leading up to this story on the shelf over there for $1.25 still.
Mm-hmm.
And that could have created a new comic fan because I'm sure everybody was telling, you know, everybody wanted that book.
Yeah.
You know, so we all had to go in and get that book. And then she came out, it's like, we can do this, right? Remember that? You're like, we could do this.
Comic. Oh man, it's like I always say that comic book stores are not comic book stores. The comic book industry is very carny. It feels very like, you know, professional wrestling. There's always like someone getting over on someone. It's just the way it is, and the basest level, it's the comic store. And some rube.
but then you get somebody like, you know, Artie at Foursquare, who's doing you know, they do they get the whole retail part of this. Again, it's usually a guy that has a girl with him, right?
Yeah,
his wife is doing it with him.
She's brilliant.
And,
she's brilliant.
You know, they understand that there's a certain amount of marketing involved, and you know, if you really want to make it successful and not just a hobby that you're using as a business write-off, that, you know, you have to use your head. And every now and then we'll walk into a store and go, somebody who understands. You could tell just by the way it's set up versus the ones where you walk in and you feel like you're in somebody's basement.
Yeah.
With the one light bulb hanging from a wire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no thrill.
And the funny thing, if you remember, guys.
Famous Faces and Funnies. He's another one that does an amazing job.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of great ones, but
you know, there's one great one for every 5. Oh my God, what are we doing?
But you would walk in a comic shop.
Of course, Android's around the corner. Yeah. He does an incredible job too.
Yeah, but Bob had Bob's amazing comics before that he bought. But Bob's store was like that.
Bob was like that. Absolutely.
Bob was the kind of guy that if you weren't in the club or they didn't know you, it was almost like you're invading their space when you go there.
Yeah, don't come in here and buy these.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
about comic books.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I make a comic book called She. He's like, who? Are you William Tucci? I'm like, well, I'm Billy Tucci, yeah. And he then you get in the club, but a lot of times they feel like you're again, it's like you're an intruder. You know,
I always price She $2 over cover. I just want you to know that.
What's that?
I always price She $2 over cover at least.
God love you. Then we're gonna have to send you some She's. We're gonna have to do a deal.
I sell them like crazy.
Hike, yo, buddy. Both of you guys. Heck yes.
Hey Billy, if you ever watch a movie called Comic Book Villains,
I read the screenplay. I never seen it. It's Carrie Elways, right? But I've never seen the film though.
Yes, Carrie Elways and Donal Logue played Bullock on Gotham. But yeah, you got to watch the film because it's exactly those two kinds of shops that are fighting over this comic book collection. You've got the comic cave, and then you've got the yuppie retail. It's a very business, clean and neat and orderly kind of deal.
Right.
And both of them want that comic collection that the guy died and left behind with his mother from the 40s. It's all golden age stuff in mint condition.
Oh,
good.
Yeah. And they like, isn't there like a murder in it or something? Or
well, the guy dies, and they're all trying to figure out how to get it from the mother. And I'm going to spoil it because the ending is just horrible. It broke my heart watching this ending of this comedy. But Carrie Elways, of course, he ingratiates himself to the mother honestly, and the other two guys are just fighting it all out. He worked for the cave. Well, the cave guy has it all loaded in a truck in the back of a pickup, and the other guy steals the pickup, and it's a chase scene, and they drive the pickup, and you can look down at the bed of this pickup, and it's like Action Number 1, Detective 27, Captain America, all that stuff. Drives the pickup truck into a lake.
That's
no.
And I'm just like, and it's like, well, that's that they just, it's
justifiable
the Henry ending. They screwed everybody over. And at the end of it, Carrie Elways is leaving the bereaved mother's house, and he's like, I'm out of this business. And she's like, here, why don't you take this? And she hands him his other collection, which was baseball cards from the 40s and 50s, and they're all like Honus Wagner. Wow! And the guy had his bedroom was set up to be a climate-controlled environment. I mean, it was just like no humidity, no temperature getting over a certain degree, so everything stayed white and crisp. And
that's fantastic.
You've got to watch the movie, guys.
Hey, Billy, there's one thing you were talking about earlier about your experience when you were at San Diego Con as a young artist, showing your portfolio around, and what a negative experience you would have had. At my stores for years, because I've had stuff published, people would always bring their stuff in to show it to me, and I'd always warn them before they go. They'd say, "Hey, I'm going to San Diego." Okay, well, here's what's going to happen. I said, "You're going to show X amount of work to a guy, and he's going to say, 'This is shit, but this is good.' You show the same stuff to the next guy, he's going to go, 'Now this is shit, but this is good.' I mean, it's going to be the exact opposite. I mean, as I always told them, to take everything with a grain of salt, or what you can, and just don't let it crush you when somebody bashes on your work, because the next guy is probably going to love it. Of course, then after that, the next thing I'd always show them was a quick lesson in 3-point perspective, because that's what all the young artists are always lacking in. And when you have that quick 3-point perspective, that also just takes them to, even a 2-point perspective usually would take them to another level.
Yeah, I got my grids and all that stuff I still use today, and my vanishing points, and I got grids on 11 by 17 paper. So I cheat and I use that. I use those grids because I don't even know who gave them to me. Someone maybe Michael Bear gave it to me, or Buzz or someone back in the day. I'm like, where'd you get these? It's like, oh, everybody uses these. I'm like, oh, thank God.
I had
with a piece of tape, and and then with rulers, and then doing it. That's fun though. That's part of the fun doing it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who
that's when you look professional.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's
I had a friend who took this comic book work to be get an opinion from Neil Adams of all people, and he came back from the convention. I was like, "Well, how'd it go?" and his buddy had to tell me. He says Neil Adams took one look at the work, went through it all, said, "This is a big long word that starts with an M for self-love. It produces nothing. It only makes you feel good." And
oh my God!
And it was he just killed him basically.
Oh yeah, so many people will just try to crush young artists. So when people show me stuff, and sometimes I'll be looking at some of the most god awful art you ever saw, but I try to find that one thing that they were doing right, and then give them a lesson in 2-point perspective. You goes the whole thing, and this is the most key thing for all young artists is keep drawing. You're not going to be an expert artist until you've drawn quite a bit. The first drawing is going to be a masterpiece. I've had kids come in and they'll actually draw something maybe halfway decent. Then they get mad at me because I don't make a phone call and get them a job at Marvel. Like, I don't have that kind of clout.
Exactly.
And, so many people have so many unrealistic expectations that they'll draw one good picture. Like, okay, I'm ready to work professional. That doesn't work that way. You've got to have skills. You've got to be able to tell a story. And you've got to know the key thing, perspective.
If you quit, you'll never get any better.
Yeah,
but I will
right.
say this. 2 years
I
ago,
hate to pressure people and make them want to quit. That's the wrong thing.
2 years ago, when we still had conventions, I went to the local science fiction convention, and I was getting, the last Destroyer books were out there. Plus, we had some stuff that Critical Blast published. And my son said, "Okay, I'm going with you this year." He was 11 at the time, and I said, "Okay, well, you can sit at the table with me." He's like, "No, I'm going to sell Mario pictures." And he got out, 8.5 by 11 lined paper, and he's just like drawing Mario and Princess Peach and all the characters. I'm like, "Okay, so you're going to sell those?" He's like, "Yep, $10 a piece." I was like, "Why don't you try like $1 a piece?" He's like, "Okay." Son of a bitch made $50 on the first day.
Yeah,
Happened to our son too.
Yeah.
$90. he
$90.
walked away with.
Baltimore Comic Con. He sits down.
No, that was not. No, that the
was the one
$90
on Long Island?
was
Long
Eternal
Island.
Con.
Eternal Con.
He started the first one he ever drew.
He's a really
at-
good artist too. He is. Yeah.
He was still really little. Then,
Yeah. He was like 5.
now
he had
he's
a
a really
Batman
good
costume
artist.
on, right? He had a Batman costume on.
Yeah. So the first time he ever learned he could actually make money drawing at Dad's table was at Baltimore Comic Con.
That's right.
So he sets up the first day, and actually both kids were drawing.
Yeah, Brian Polito gave him $5. He was
Brian
selling-
Polito bought one from each for $5. Brian was right behind us, and a few other people. So
Aw.
that was the first day. The second day of the con, we go to set up, and my little guy clears off half of a table.
Yeah, we're
and
like,
it's like,
whoa.
well, this is my area
Yeah.
now. We're like, no.
Because they too, RJ, he wanted to sell his for $10 too. Like, do it for $1.
Right. So
Yeah.
after we gave him his little 1x2 space and said, you have to stay within this area. You can't take away mommy and daddy's prints. He had a decent day, so he couldn't wait for the next convention. And he actually had a line. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't go, but they were sending me
Yeah.
text pictures of Matthew's line. Matthew had a line and he was drawing like Lego versions of superheroes.
Oh, cool.
And
That's right. Yeah. So
and they were flying, and I'm getting emails from people. Look what I bought from your son today. I'm
Yeah.
like, holy cow!
Yeah.
This kid thought he discovered gold.
Yeah.
He came home. Look at all the money I made. It's great.
And then the next day he blew it all.
Yeah.
He went back to the show on Sunday and blew it all.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going on to
He
eBay?
can do
And,
what he wants to with it.
Yeah.
can you imagine going on to eBay today though and finding like sketches from 11-year-old William Tucci or 10-year-old Don Chin?
Well, I got one better. I'm going to show you what one of our friends did for our
Oh,
son.
yeah.
It's in my office. At the last San Diego. I'll be right back.
All right.
Billy, does your son have aspirations to follow in your footsteps?
Absolutely not. He's going to be an attorney or an engineer.
Ah,
Oh, he wants to make
Look
money.
at it.
No, we don't want him to do it.
It sounds, comic books, a lot of times, like actors or actresses, I don't want my kid to get in this business at all. You'll hear that a lot. Do you think like a lot of comic book creators are that way also?
Well,
like
right
writers?
now it's tough, right, Mike? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough industry to get. I mean, we caught lightning in a bottle. We're lucky. But yeah, maybe if he wants to carry on the legacy, he can do whatever he wants. Obviously,
Right now, he wants to do a lot of things. He's taking
he wants to be Batman too.
He's taking a design and something.
We need a Batman.
He's taking a class now where he's learning to use 3D printers, and he loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So he's a rare person that is very artistic but very cerebral also.
Yeah.
He's very good in
Math
science and math,
yeah.
but also an artist, which is
It works that way a lot of times, doesn't it?
Not me.
I don't
Well-
know many. It's usually either one or the
Yeah.
other, but he's got both sides of his brain working.
I mean, like the Da Vinci, didn't he created a
Right,
computer
exactly.
back in the day?
The Renaissance men,
Yeah.
exactly. So in one minute he wants to go into research, the next minute he wants to do. I think
He's only 14.
once he's only 14.
Yeah, now he's 14.
I think once he really starts learning about things like architectural engineering and just architecture in general, I have a funny feeling that's where he's going to go, because he likes the whole science part of it. He likes physics. He likes understanding how things work. And he likes the artistic part of that as well.
Do you feel like you guide that experience, or you just exist so that it gets soaked in?
Yeah, I kind of.
But he knows everyone too. He
I
grew up in
kind
the
of
industry.
suggest
Yeah.
things a lot until he gives in and checks it out. And once he checks it out, if it's not for him, I let it go.
Yeah.
But like that's what happened with wrestling. For years, we knew this kid was born to be a wrestler. And we don't know anything about wrestling, but we knew he was going to do very well with it. And he told us we didn't know what we were talking about, and he fought it, and he fought it, and he fought it. And then finally, I don't even know, I think it was Andrew was watching the ridiculous wrestling on TV. And it piqued his
we don't
curiosity.
have to call it ridiculous wrestling. Some people think it's ridiculous wrestling.
I do a show about wrestling, just to let you know.
Yeah, okay, anyway. So
girls think it's ridiculous wrestling.
It is ridiculous. It's
Oh.
ridiculous wrestling. It's called professional.
but anyway, he finally gave it a shot, and now he regrets not doing it from the time he was earlier.
Yeah, and he's great. Yeah, he loves it. But yeah,
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, but real quick. So at the last convention, a friend of ours who's a volunteer.
That's awesome. Look at that.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Whose art is that?
Billy and Deb. That's
what happened there.
Hang on.
That's Kanan White's cover for our Beard Zerker book.
Well,
Yeah,
you got Kanan White.
There's Don that wants to do the book. Don, you said Bill is going to draw it. Let's do it. All right.
Yeah, I told him we could. We were talking about money, but we're not going to do that here.
Yeah.
This is kind of a under the cover thing that Billy and Deb and I are working on a possible she variant for Beard Zerker. But
yeah, it's going to happen. And what you want to do is fine.
So this is Kanan.
Of course that is.
He just turned this in last night, and it's still to be colored, but we're probably going to have Stefani Renee color it.
That's beautiful. Really
Thank you. Thank you.
I got to admit, guys, I don't know how you guys feel about it because, I know, Billy, you did color, but I'm so going back and loving black and white comics again. And I'm so sad that we don't see it like we used to.
Me too. Well, Don's the guy with the black and white explosion in the 80s. He was right there in the middle of that, man.
Yeah, that's true. Eastman and Laird, and then everybody else.
And then everybody else. It was like this crazy funnel, It's like
yeah, the Tick, right? I mean,
oh
man.
my God, the Tick,
God,
yeah,
brilliant.
all of that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, like I've told Don already that Adolescent was like, and then not only that company was doing all the 3D variants or covers, comics. I mean,
all the Ray Zone stuff.
Oh my God, and anytime a new 3D comes out, it's just like, I don't care. I just got to have it. And
so wait a minute. Can we still make 3D? We've never made a 3D cover. I'd love to do that.
There's still the process is just getting better and better, but going back and looking at it, it's all of those Eclipse was doing like crazy amounts of them, and they're just, I have like a box full of,
I love when we were doing those 3D. Remember the 3D books you would like Puss in Boots and stuff you'd buy in the supermarket? Remember they had those cool 3D covers? I love those books.
Were they like
with the glasses though?
No. The cover was just 3D. No, the cover had that 3D cover.
Now that's
almost like holographic, where you tilted it and the image changed.
Yeah, the holograms. Yeah,
lenticular.
Yeah,
lenticular.
Yeah,
I want to do a lenticular cover.
Okay.
Make it so.
Lenticulars are cool too. I mean, I like those a lot. I don't know. God, I would expect those to be really expensive.
Well, dude, we have on our campaign, because I always wanted to have a glow-in-the-dark cover, and I solicited She #1 because I didn't know what I was doing.
Ridiculously expensive.
As a glow-in-the-dark cover. And so, again, I was just doing this all at the seat of my pants. Like, we're going to have a glow-in, because they're like, you got to have, I remember it's Mark Herr from Diamonds, like, you got to have something if you want to be able to compete, and you're a new publisher, blah, blah. I'm like, so you chromium? I'm like, what the hell is chromium? I don't even know what that is. And he's like, I'm doing glow in the dark. I didn't realize that.
Oh, I love glow in the dark.
Glow in the dark covers at the time the ink was banned in the United States and Canada in 93 and 94, so I couldn't do it. So I had to make She Away Warrior #1 returnable, and we got a box back. It was like a gift from God, because we'd gotten in the first 3 weeks of that book, we'd gotten reorders of over 140,000 copies of reorders. I didn't have those books. I only made 50,000 of them. And but finally, we're doing for the Heikyo campaign. We are doing a glow in the dark cover now because I got my glow in the dark cover. Dude, they cost more money to make than the friggin' hardcovers.
That twice as expensive.
Yeah,
More than
great.
twice.
We're
as
like making no money off of the off of the glow in the dark, but I want to glow. She's like, the voice of reason.
You know, you might also think of like depending, like I have right back here a comic book illustrator named Jim Rugg did like all these blacklight things, and all that Kirby stuff that got done in the 70s is just so cool. And you can get a really cool throwback audience potentially with that kind of stuff.
With a blacklight edition.
I don't know how much that
at the show.
that might not be as expensive. Also,
We'd have
as
to,
Glow in the
you'd have
Dark.
to color it all for blacklight.
Well, we did that with the.
I could do it with
the
Gatecrasher.
The glow in the dark cover
Yeah.
is specifically colored for black and white too, with all the green on it.
All right,
we could do that.
All right.
But it's not so much the coloring for black light. It's that everything that's not color, all the black, has to be velvet.
Yes,
velvet cover.
At least
Velvet cover.
at least it should feel like velvet, right?
Yeah. Black velvet, black light cover. There we go.
All right, I'm going to show this off, and then I'm going to get out of the gentleman's hair here and make it back to it. So,
Oh, it was awesome.
So,
Way more cool.
one of our buddies who volunteers at
Comic-Con.
at San Diego Comic-Con bought one of Billy's sketch covers and asked our son to draw his favorite character on it, which is Batman.
And he slabbed it.
And then he slabbed it and sent it back to him.
And my son did. But my son hates it because like I'm so much better than that now. Well, that was a year and a half ago.
Well, he's
you know?
just like you. When there's pressure, he freezes and he's like, "Oh, this is
I'm
terrible.
amazing with
This is
prep.
terrible.
Well, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I'm like a
he's
diamond.
It's terrible through the whole thing." And I'm like, "Matthew, it's great. You're 12 for Pete's sake."
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really a very nice gesture, and it made his day when it came back in the mail.
That is awesome.
Very cool.
I'm glad he didn't crush the corners or anything when he was drawing that.
9.6.
9.2 or
9.6, yeah, for a sketch cover's not so bad.
Pretty good.
I think he was on the floor drawing it too,
Yeah,
right?
but
He was on the
looking at
floor.
it now, yeah, he drew it on the floor. There's like a fingerprint up here.
Yeah.
They're forgiving to have a
My
sketch
wife's office because he sends it to Matthew as a gift, and Matthew hates it.
He doesn't. Well, no,
Well,
he
yeah.
doesn't hate it. He hated it at the time. He's very appreciative. I have it because I know that it needs to stay safe, and it won't be safe in his room.
Right. Like nothing.
My son has some comics in his room that are framed. They're my comics, but I figure he's going to inherit them at some point anyway. So why wait till I die? And if I get angry at him, I can always just put him back in my office.
There you go. Yeah.
He's got my Green Lantern number 40, and when I say framed, they're not slabs. They're like I took them to a frame shop and put them behind museum glass with a border and everything.
Perfect.
So he's got my Green Lantern number 40, which is the first time that the multiverse was ever discussed, the first Crisis book, it's that Hal Jordan, Alan Scott. Yeah, that first time that Hal Jordan and Alan Scott appear together in Green Lantern series. So they're fighting each other in front of the Guardians. So that's in the frame. Sitting next to that is my Flash with the first appearance of the Reverse Flash.
Wow.
In a second frame. And then between that, I've got a double-sized one that has the first Batgirl's appearance. It's got the first Bat-Girl of Betty Kane, and then the first Barbara Gordon Batgirl, both side by side, the Carmine Infantino one.
You should take a picture and share it someday.
I'll do that. I've got taken several pictures of it, but I'll do it again.
Or scan. Yeah, take the. Yeah, you're right, Don. Yeah.
But Ben hangs in his office with he hangs at his office. He has a bedroom. I don't even have an office. Ed hangs in there with his Archie as Pureheart the Powerful #1 that he found at a bargain basement deal. I'd like put that away in a thing. And then the guy who does the Beardo comic books, his name's escaped me at the time. It'll come back to me after the show. Met him at the convention, and he did. I said, "Can you do an Archie style?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I can do an Archie style." So his favorite picture in there is from him when he was 9 years old, as drawn with the little Archie gang. And he's walking off with Betty and Veronica on each arm, and Archie's like going, "What the hell just happened here?" And Jughead's laughing. I was like, he's like, it's 125. I'm like, he's like, it's 25 a character. I'm like, makes sense. But you know, I brought that home, and that was his Christmas present that year.
Nice.
Somebody's vibrating.
Sorry.
We kept you too long, haven't we?
All right. Well,
I'm gonna say goodnight, guys.
Bye, Dad. Merry Christmas.
Nice
Thanks
seeing
for coming
you.
on.
Merry
Nice
Christmas.
to meet you.
Yeah, I want to get going soon. I got to finish this cover, and I'm going to go live on my own stream to thank everybody.
Whoa.
It's a good time to wrap it up completely.
Take this campaign home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're running long, RJ.
I know.
My bladder can only hold out so long.
So, thank you all for coming. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Chris Mahana Kwanzaa to whomever celebrates that.
Festivus.
Yes, for the rest of us.
That's right.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
I was at strength. All right, hold on. Oh, sorry, RJ. My girlfriend was like, she wrote on the calendar on Festivus. And I said, all right, I can't wait for the feats of strength because it's just her and me, right?
Nice.
And she said, I don't know. We could do like feats of mental strength, right? And I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to go.
No, that's not how Festivus
I don't think we're celebrating Festivus anymore.
Making our own holiday again. All right, everybody, I'll see you after the first of the year for the next LCS Guys show. I'll have to figure out when that schedule's in because we're going to skip the next one. It's too close to New Year's Eve. And Billy, I'd love to get on the Pop XP and talk with you about that crowdfunding shipping thing we're doing.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that. Let's talk and let's do that. And again, you guys, I had so much fun. If you guys ever want me on again, I'd love to come on anytime.
Every 2 weeks. It just come on.
This is like I don't know. I guess Christmas is coming. Whatever. My campaign's ending. I'm done with all my art. For the book. I'm working on commissions now. And I'm just this is great. I love it. What a great way to spend a Saturday night.
Awesome. We can make all your comments.
It's like we're at a comic convention, right? It's like we're at the bar at a Comic-Con. This is awesome.
All
Don,
right.
coming to the Beard Zerker and the X Farce. Let us know, when that's fully launched. And I know you got the newsletter portion up right now, right?
Yeah, signups are there. Free exclusive trading card for anybody that backs it. But hopefully in the next week it'll go live.
And Don, you can draw Sheehan. We'll do it.
All right.
Don't worry about her. Just do it. Go for it.
I keep trying to get Rob Liefeld's attention for the X Farce part of it, but he just keeps assiduously ignoring me. So I don't know.
We'll wear him down.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Folks in the chat, thank you so much. Remember, there is a link. It's good till midnight. If you click on it, we'll figure out who wins this thing, if anybody. And I will actually personalize it to whoever wins. So it'll be double signed.
Awesome.
My first signature was really, really sloppy. And yes, you all can click on the link. It's perfectly fine to do that.
Thanks, RJ.
With that,